Just read a little bit of that. This is from chapter 1, Inga. I remember the day Ben was born, how they laid him on my chest all mottled pink and squirming. When I rubbed my cheek against his tender head, he clutched my finger with his tiny ones as if to claim me. At that moment, I thought I understood everything I needed to know about life, as if everything that had been dark became bright, everything that had been ponderous was lifted up on wings of air. There he was in my arms, my baby boy, flesh of my flesh, a miracle beyond comprehension, a miracle because he existed. And being, he made me. I became myself, Ben's mother. I understood my role, my meaning. I would love him and protect him and raise him up to be a fine and gentle man. I would let no harm befall him. Now it seems to me that was the last simple thing, how the love I felt for him suffused me until it became embedded in my very cells. Of all the things I'll never really understand, that love is the biggest mystery of them all. It's just an animal thing, I know, a way nature has of ensuring the survival of the young. But we like to think we're more than animals. We like to think we have free will, spirits, souls even. In that way, we imagine that we're in control, that we have choices and reasons for why we do the things we do. Of course, that was before everything else, before Tony Nichols, before I left Charles, before the 4 girls and Jean, before the police came knocking on my door. I don't know how many of us there are whose lives are cleaved in two so abruptly. For me, it happened on September 10th, 1968. At some point, the book I was reading, slouching toward Bethlehem, dropped from my hands and woke me up, or maybe it was the sharp rapping at the front door. In all the years I'd lived in the north end of Tacoma, I'd never known of such a thing. I considered not answering, but the rapping intensified, so insistent that I pulled on my robe, switched on the porch light, and looked through the peephole. That peephole was Ben's idea. That and the chain lock, so I could open the door a crack, but no one could force his way in. I had scoffed that I didn't need such protections. It was a quiet, safe neighborhood after all. The only crime I could remember in the 18 years I'd lived there was when the Gleason's son threw rocks through the sun porch windows of a duplex down the block. Outside were 2 men, their faces ballooned into monstrous size by the lens. One was wearing a police uniform and the other street clothes, though I could see a miniature gun and a shoulder holster, black against his white shirt. I slid the chain off and opened the door. Beyond were 3 squad cars, their red and blue lights flashing, and several police were running toward the back of the house, the strangest thing. The one with the shoulder holster asked if they could come in, and he called me by my name. Something in my chest lurched then. The uniformed one swept right past me with his gun drawn, and I turned in bewilderment to the older man. Is Ben all right? Is he hurt? From the day Ben was born, I feared something would happen to him. I worried that the small lump in his groin when he was a toddler was cancer, though the doctor said it was cat fever from a scratch, a swollen lymph node that would resolve itself in time. I gave the cat away then, though I loved her. Whenever I read stories in the paper of accidents, the child found at the bottom of a swimming pool with the mother a few feet away, that was Ben face down in my mind. Or those car accidents with teenagers out for a joyride until the car flips and rolls. I spent many an anxious night when Ben was in high school pretending to read, trying to familiarize myself with new books we were getting in at the library, but unable to concentrate until I heard the back door open. It had only been in the past few years since he left home for college in Seattle and took an apartment there after graduation that I'd been able to relax my vigil. I'm Detective O'Lawton. Just then I heard the lock on the kitchen door turn and voices in the kitchen. They have to search, he said, as if I'd understand. Several policemen were running through the house, opening doors with drawn guns. They left a smell of fear and sweat in their wake, masculine and alien, as if their presence had changed the molecules in the air. I pulled my robe tighter. The house is just a little bungalow, 2 bedrooms. It didn't take long, and all the time the detective and I just stood there in the foyer, waiting for what I didn't know. I wanted to ask about Ben again, but found I couldn't speak.